No, definitely. But then I think on the flip side, I had a dear friend of mine sent me a message, and she was, just having a hard day, not a hard life, just like she had a hard day. And we're all allowed to have a hard day. But what I knew in that moment, as, being one of her really good friends, I called her out on it because I could tell that she was just being an absolute sook. She needed to put on her big girl pants and just like get back in the driver's seat. Like that was it. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's actually so beautiful to be in a friendship, whether that's mentorship or like just a normal friendship, where you can actually hold each other to that standard of like knowing the difference between, am I processing something that is really big that I need to honor, or do I need to be called out of my shit now and just like rise above? And it was so beautiful because her response back, she was like, this was a 10 out of 10, like, thank you. Like, I literally said, like, no, I can't even say it because the podcast will block me. But I'm like, stop being whatever I called her. And I said, beep. Stop being a beep and, get back up. Mm. And she was like, thank you.
Like, people that play devil's advocate, this is something that a concept, I guess, that I came into a couple of years ago. You really want your close circle to not be enablers, not be people that overly validate you or are always going to choose your bias.
Yeah.
Like, can they be people that will always play devil's advocate with you? So if you come to them with this just happened, or this client this, or my partner this, or life this, they're actually going to come in with, well, where did you contribute to that? Or how could you move beyond that?
Yeah.
Or I can actually see both sides, not just, oh my God, yes, you're right, life's so hard, this is so shit.
Yeah.
Because you want those people that are going to challenge you to see differently. And I know for me, I always would call my friends, or if I was having a process, I would call her, and I could be in the middle of a cafe or at home or whatever. And sometimes she would say to me, honestly, like, you're fine. And I was like, I am. Like, I actually am fine. And
that's incredible.
I'm having a moment.
You're having a moment.
It's not forever.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck in this. I always think, we pedestal excitement, happiness, joy, all of these emotions or feelings, and then we suppress and make wrong anger, sadness, whatever else, it is wrong, anxiety, anything. What if they were all just neutral? You don't experience a moment of joy and think, I hope I'm not stuck in this forever, because you know it will pass. So when you're sitting in sadness, there's this feeling of like, what if I'm stuck here forever? It will pass the same way everything else passes.
This is huge. This is huge because I can see this continuously with clients, and, we actively working on it, but I can see the drive that they get when they're like, they had a good night's sleep, they are feeling good, they are feeling happy, they are feeling motivated. And then all of a sudden it's like their content is picking back up, their stories are picking back up, and then they get sick. Or, they've had a rough week, or they're feeling a bit down, then everything stops, or they are navigating something. And I think it's so beautiful when you can just learn from a business perspective, show up from a neutral state, whether you are happy, fucking sad, anything in between, you still move. And what I think is really helpful as well, especially when you have those like icky emotions of like, you're procrastinating, or you're just like, you're pissed off, you don't want to do the work, you're just avoiding it altogether. And if you catch yourself in the moment, like, what is your process? So like you said, it's like taking action in that moment is huge. But if you don't have the exact steps that you actually lead yourself through in that moment, I feel like it will be perhaps too difficult for people to actually take action, because you're not going to think you're clearest when you're in that state. So when you are feeling good, when you are feeling, positive and happy and clear, come up with a plan that you do in that moment when you can actually catch yourself to go, I'm procrastinating right now, or I'm feeling down. Like, what is your process? Is that creating a piece of content, focusing on one like money-making activity inside of your business, sell one program, and, close the loop on, inside of your business? Like, do something. And when you learn to just like repeat that action, like every time I feel this, I take action. You just need to train yourself to do that.
Becomes default, and it's the default response to whatever you're experiencing. It's so true. And I think everything in life, even the analogy of like putting on your CEO pants and just doing the thing regardless of how you feel, in hindsight, That is 15 minutes. Go onto your Instagram, go onto your emails, whatever. 15 minutes. Set a timer, do what you need to do, turn your phone off and don't touch it again. Just move the needle in your business.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing. Like sometimes you don't have capacity. I get that. You know, for me, I really felt like I did not have capacity. So things did take a backward step intentionally where I'm like, no, I don't have capacity to maybe facilitate a mastermind right now, or I don't have capacity to run multiple live programs, or I don't have capacity to sell in this way, like whatever the context was.
Yeah.
So business changed a little bit, but for the non-negotiables, like it's that.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
are your
yeah,
daily
yeah.
non-negotiables? Like
Yeah.
I don't care what it looks like. I know for me a big thing is I like to move the needle on my socials in the morning. So if
same.
I haven't done that until the afternoon, that is not productive for me. I feel scattered the entire day.
Yeah.
It's an open loop in my head. I don't feel like I've moved the needle when it comes to money-making activities in the business. So for me, it's around, you know, I walk and I train, I get ready, I go down to the cafe, I move the needle in my business.
Yeah,
and once I've
huge.
done that,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Course creation, serving clients, client calls, like
Yeah,
whatever else
yeah.
needs to happen. So if I don't do that, I chose that and I chose whatever resistance I then experienced that day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just have those non-negotiables
Yeah.
and everything all of a sudden starts to feel like, oh, it's a bit lighter and it's a bit easier. And the confidence you get from being your word, like following through.
Oh,
And something that's just imprinted in my brain at the moment, complexity hinders follow through.
yes.
Stop overcomplicating it. Like stop overcomplicating it. Know what you have to do it.
Goosebumps.
And reap
Yeah.
the benefits of that. Like the action you take today is the reward you experience tomorrow. Just
Yeah.
do the thing.
Let's go there actually, talking about long-term vision, because what I'm kind of gauging somewhat is that we are very lucky to be able to have online businesses and to be able to have an abundance of potential clients, like humans that can access our work, our services within a click of a button type thing.
Apple Pay.
Right.
There's no resistance.
So convenient.
Yeah.
What I'm finding is that a lot of people are hoping to get really quick results, quick fixes, where I feel that is absolutely essential to think long term, completely detaching from a timeline of needing something to happen next month, in the next 3 months. I'm not saying don't have goals, but for me, inside of my company, like I am settled in, like we are moving completely detached from a timeline. I want to get your perspective on that.
Yeah. When I started my business straight out of high school, 2019, I remember saying to my dad, because I quit uni, I did it for about 5 weeks and then I was like, I'm not participating. This is not for me. It's not for my brain. And I said
never
to
went, so I
Dad,
can't relate at all.
No,
Yeah.
I tried. I
Yeah,
dabbled and then I
perfect.
planned a business the whole time.
Yeah.
So I quit uni and I said to Dad, give me 4 years. I said, whatever, because it was, you know, conversation sort of circulating at the time around you study full time or you work full time. And I was like, well, I'm not working for someone, so watch me go. Like I'm going to make my business full time quickly. The competitive part of me, I'm like, you think I can't do it? Watch me do it. And you think I won't do it on my own? Like watch me do it on my own.
Gosh, why would like that? Like I love that version of me, but far out.
I'm like, just because, just out of proving, like complete proving energy. I'm like, oh, well, out of spite, watch me do it. I remember I said to him, I never want to work a Saturday in my life. And he said, Riley, that's not realistic. I said, watch me. And I will preface, when you own a business, I've worked plenty of Saturdays.
Yeah.
However, it hasn't been for somebody else and it
Yeah.
hasn't been in that context. So I'm like, Dad, I did it. Like, watch me
Yeah.
do it. But even initially, I wasn't like, oh, I hope I make some money and I hope I get a sale. I was like, no, I'm building a business and give me 4 years. So I never went into it thinking, oh, this is a month thing. This is a I hope it works thing. I'm like, no, I'm already projecting that I will be in this company, in this business in 4 years. And I know I'm 18 and this is new, but I don't see this ending for at least the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And that was more so, Dad, watch me get started. I will be earning what I would have earned from my degree within that time. And long story short,
I hope your dad's listening.
the fourth year was $740,000. So I was like, Dad, I won.
Yeah, right?
I did it.
Yeah.
But my point being, like, even at that point, I was like, okay, well, where are we going? Like, what's happening with this? I don't necessarily care what lies beyond where I'm currently at, because two parts in that, I think I've only ever got now. Yeah. And that perspective probably serves and doesn't serve me in a lot of ways. And I know that, and there's reasons I think that way. But I always think I've got now, and I'll usually, I guess, forecast for 6 to 12 months, but never more. Yeah. And the reason being is, for me, things evolve and things change and things move. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I get fixated on it having to be one way, I'm going to be married to that outcome. Yeah. And it's not going to allow for that natural kind of evolution to take place. So I want to just see it. I want to see it happen.
That's beautiful.
But I'm here and I'm committed regardless.
I really resonate with that, because I have never resonated with like a 5 or a 10-year plan.
I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Like, hopefully a fucking millionaire. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I don't know, because the pace in which I'm moving right now, like, if I look back at the first mentor that I had, you know, she made me like write down like my best like dream life type thing, and like the biggest things that I ever want to accomplish in my life. Like, I nailed those within 2 years. So clearly they weren't big enough. But that I've had an incredible like evolution over the past few years, right? But I'm like, I don't know. And I kind of love that I just let the evolution of life take me. Yeah. I love having direction. Like, I certainly know what I want to achieve within the next, 12, 6, 3 months. It's very clear where I'm heading. But beyond that, I'm like, let's see. I'm curious.
And
right?
what will be the thing that I desire? Then I don't know. Who will I be then? And I think the rate that I grow personally, sometimes I think back to 3 weeks and I'm like, if you knew me then, you don't really know me now. If you knew me a couple of months ago, like, I'm probably not the same person, so you'd have to meet me again. I always think of it like that. Yeah. So naturally what I value, what I want is probably going to shift and change also. And if I get so married to something needing to look a certain way, there's no room to kind of move and evolve within that. So that's really, it's important to me.
Yeah. And how would you even say, in terms of people, they've committed to a path. So say, for instance, they're locked into like their 5-year plan, and then they're like halfway through their plan, they're like, that's not what I want anymore. It's not who I am. It's not what I value. It's not the direction that I want to take. What would you say to someone like that, who's like in the moment of like feeling like they know that they need to pivot. They know that they are not aligned. How do you make that shift? How do you make that decision?
This is going to sound so surface level and silly, but something I've said to my clients on repeat at the moment is, let's just fuck around and find out.
Let's just fuck around and find out.
Can we just, do we dare? Fuck around and find out what happens if you just do it. Yeah. If you just get curious, if you just change, if you just dabble, if you just do the thing anyway. It's sometimes we want it to be so complex. Again, complexity hinders follow through. Yeah. What if you just got to fuck around and find out? Yeah. What happens when you do it? What happens when you change your mind? What happens when you actually divorce the plan?
Yes.
Like, maybe I don't need to be married to this anymore. And from my perspective, also in personal experience, I never had a plan in business because I let that do its thing. I very much had a plan for my personal life.
Yes.
That blew up in my face. Yeah. And then I went, okay, so I'm not going to have X, Y, and Z by this age or this date or this time in my life. I'm hitting the reset on what I thought things would look like. So I moved to Bali, and then I moved to the Gold Coast, and then I have plans on moving again next year and different experiences.
Are you moving away from the Gold Coast? What?
Only temporarily.
Okay.
It'll just be a little stint.
Okay, I hope so.
A little stint here and there, but I've got plans, and I think what's been so cool for me in that was I was so... What kind of happens is we create an identity around something, and our plan is often that, where we're like, I'm going to have the house, I'm going to have the career, I'm going to, climb my way up the corporate ladder, I'm going to have a business that does this by this date, by this time, and this is how everything's going to look. We marry that, our identity becomes that, we voice that out loud, we get a lot of validation for it. So then the prospect of, if I move away from that, am I going to be loved? Am I going to get that validation? Am I going to be accepted? Will that plan be accepted? So many people, I'm going to say 90 something percent, let's go like 97% of people live their lives doing what they're obliged to do, not what they desire to do.
Oh.
And that I think that can be sometimes, if you're listening and you're just like, cool, because I can
Some
reflect
people will be
and
like, I feel
that.
seen.
Yeah. And for me, I audited my life this year and I thought, where are you moving from complete obligation? Where do you make decisions from obligation? Where do you accept things from obligation? And when I stripped it all back and thought, who do you want to be? What do you want to experience? And what do you want to achieve in this life? It was vastly different from what I thought I had to do.
Oh.
I was like, I want to travel. I want to experience the world. I actually don't believe in that. That's actually not a value of mine. I actually like to treat my body this way. I actually don't value X, Y, and Z. I think even being single for the first time really in my life and in my adult life, a lot of obligation around what that needs to look like.
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought, no, I actually don't want to do it that way. And I don't want to experience that. And I don't want to have this. And that was one example. But then business, I go, okay, where am I moving from obligation?
Yes. Yeah.
An example I even shared with you this morning was with my private clients now, very small shift. But I was like, I don't desire fortnightly calls. I desire them to be able to book unlimited calls.
Yes.
So at 5:15, I was on the phone to my client who's over in the UK.
Yeah.
And we had a 10-minute audio conversation on my way to a walk with you to be like, hey, masterclass, where's it at?
I love that.
So I was like, obligation versus desire. What do I desire? I want to call my clients when I feel like it.
Yes.
I want my clients to have support when they want it, not because it's scheduled on a Tuesday at 5.
I think this is, if I can just go here. So when we had our first one-on-one as a kickoff, I actually invited you to come into the studio. It was meant to be an hour call via Zoom. And I'm like, you live 900 meters away from my studio. You're very close.
Come.
Right? I'm like, just come hang out. And you're so beautiful because you were so mindful of the time, the boundaries. But I could tell that perhaps your experiences in the past, that maybe that has been almost like too tight, that you were so mindful of like not cutting in like beyond an hour and like 1 minute. You were just like, oh my gosh, I'm just mindful of your time. And I so appreciate that. But I'm like, Riley, I want to be here with you. Like, I want to hang out, like settle in. Let me make you a coffee with a love heart.
Twice now.
Don't worry. You'll see it on Instagram. Like, don't worry. It's a beautiful
Best coffee on the Gold Coast.
That's it. Yeah. But I think it was so beautiful to actually be able to have that and just settle in. Like, I genuinely, like for me, mentorship, like this is a friendship. It's mentorship. Like, I genuinely want to have you here on the podcast. I enjoy your company. I wanted to go for that walk with you. And I think this is perhaps where boundaries, perhaps in, if I can say, quote unquote, industry has almost gone a bit wrong. That boundaries have almost become like a lack of connection or this personal touch. Like human connection, where I'm like, the way I see this, it's like we are building something significant. Like both of us, we are locking arms and we are walking together. And I genuinely want to be here with you. And I could see like the shift. And you probably stay for 2-3 hours. You met my daughter, you met my husband, and like, you were here for the rest of the afternoon. And I'm like, I love that. It get to be like that. And I'm just curious to kind of hear, even being on the receiving end of that, maybe compared to other experiences that both of us have had, what does that feel like to be on the receiving end of that?
The biggest permission slip, I think, in the world is one thing where I was like, oh, it just gets to be this way, the way that I know I crave, I desire. I love the relationship I have with my private clients specifically because we are working in such close proximity. There's nothing that they don't know about me. There's nothing that I don't necessarily know about them. They're open to share everything and anything, and they know that on my end also. And I feel the same way with you too, where there's how I would describe it is it's no longer the hierarchy, it's collaboration. And I think that is collaboration breeds results, hierarchy breeds to an extent separation. And I think there's an audit that has to take place personally and professionally where you go, where boundaries are supposed to create safety, right? They're really important and you need to have boundaries in place. But where does safety turn into separation? You know, where are your boundaries
Absolutely.
actually closing opportunity for connection? Because I don't want my clients to feel like they can't confide in me. I don't want my clients to feel like, oh, it's 4 p.m. I can't message her. It's like, no, you can. But you know that I'm probably not going to be back in till tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So
right?
message me, but I'll be back in tomorrow morning.
It's not transactional. Like for me, this is such a sacred, beautiful place where we actually get to grow together. But it's clean in the sense like we know you have invested, you paid in full, you're like, let's go. It's a very clean transaction from that perspective. But the depths that we can go, the conversations we get to have, the experience we get to have as we grow together, that is entirely up to us. And I want that to be like for us both, for any one of my clients, I want that to be an experience that we are all going to remember for life.
An experience.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
And I value this from the moment in which people invest into my spaces. The whole conversation from like our first hello to every interaction and to what happens after. It's like it's a oneness of how I like to make people feel and the experience they get to have. Then it's not to say that unfortunately I can't sit with, you know, every single one of my clients in this capacity. I wish I could. But for me, it's an experience.
And it's a relationship.
It's a relationship where I genuinely get to build on something significant with the hope that in rooms you go, you will mention my name and vice versa. It's that whole collaboration over competition. There is no competition at this level. It's like I want nothing more than to see you win. And we're on a good roll to making that happen. You're already winning.
We're going to win collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so true. It's such a huge conversation. I think it even circles back to investing and the nature of investing and people's perception of investing. It's not I invest to get X result. I don't invest to get X result.
Yeah.
I invest in the support to help me achieve X result. But I'm investing in the support, not the transformation. Right, but I know that you're going to be an incredible vehicle and person that can help me close that gap. And what also to me is, to be honest, more important than the money side of an investment. Of course, I go, okay, what is the investment financially speaking? I'm investing my time and my energy in this person. I'm not getting either of those two things back. Money will circulate, whatever.
Correct.
Like whatever, the 10K, okay, cool. Like I'll see you when I see you. What I cannot get back is my time. So if I'm going to be spending time with a mentor, investing in mentorship, having conversations, plugging into Telegram, watching trainings, coming to the studio, doing a podcast, whatever.
You're like, no place I'd rather be. No, I'm joking.
No place I'd rather be. I'm like, I love hot coffee. Like, where else would I be? Nowhere at 5:15 in the morning, going on my walk.
100%. We were messaging at 4:30 this morning.
Like, hey, I'm like, what are you wearing? But that's important to me. So I'm like, well, who am I giving my time and my energy to, and vice versa? So even if a client's signing with me, I go, do I want to invest my time in this client? It's not really about, oh, I see a dollar sign over their head when it comes to an investment. That's not important to me. Money will come and go. I can get money anywhere, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm never getting my time back. So when I open Telegram in the morning, I want to feel so lit up by every single conversation I'm about to have. I want to feel so lit up by every relationship that I've built in there.
Yeah.
Money is just the transaction.
Yeah.
It's actually no deeper than that. And I think we place too much importance on that exchange.
Yeah.
When I'm like, forget the money. Do you want to give this person your time?
That is such a minimal, like that does not even cross my mind. Like that was just such a small, okay, that's just a transaction over here. Like this is the relationship. This is the experience. This is the time.
Because there is no worse feeling in the world than either receiving payment from someone or paying someone when you don't either value the relationship or there's no real desire there to even support or be supported in any sort of capacity that's genuine, you know?
Yeah.
I know times where someone might have paid me for, you know, any type of service. Could have even been PT for $30 an hour back in the day.
Yeah.
Could have been that. But it's like, okay, if I did that just to close a sale and receive X amount, it's never worth it in exchange for what I have to give energetically. So to me, I keep it tight. I will say no to people.
Yeah. Oh, same.
You know, and not because I don't love, respect, and think they're an incredible person, but I'm probably not your person. I'm also doing you a huge disservice.
Yes, I would just about to say that.
A huge disservice
Yeah.
in even taking your money or supporting you, because we're probably not going to align. However, I think because I've focused on brand positioning and all moving parts, I would rarely attract someone who doesn't align with my values and isn't a good match.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've had times where people have reached out to me. So for instance, like a product-based business, I have worked with a number of product-based businesses. I'm very transparent to say I have never had a product-based business myself. So I may not be your perfect mentor. Like I have not had a similar type business. So for me, that is just like a very important thing to like share with you from a very like early stage. It's when I say that, it's like they want me even more.
Yeah, it's like,
because I'm kind of saying like, hey, I'm not sure if I'm going to be perfect. They're like, no. Like you are. So no, but I've never had a product-based business. I could possibly guide you in the right direction to another couple of people. And they're like, oh, no, I kind of want to stay with you. But I think it's so beautiful to be able to be so transparent. Can I help them? 100%. Is that my ideal person based on my own experience? No, it's not. But I think even having like leading with that integrity and even the transparency of, you know, if we can like touch on like the selling process. I know that you and I, we share a very similar view when it comes to selling. For me, it's just guiding people in the right direction, whether I am right or wrong, or we're going to be a good match, or if it's not right now, or like I've had conversations with people from back in like 2020, right? Like 2021. And they're like, one day, like that one day was like at the start of this week.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And it's like just really honoring that, being transparent in your sales process, like not being so fixated on closing the sale. Do we get to be strategic in our sales process? 100%. I love sales psychology, and I know you're very passionate about this as well. Understanding like, how am I leading this conversation? But when people are on the receiving end of genuinely feeling that it is a conversation of us guiding them, like mentorship starts before they've actually paid you.
It starts when you show up on your Instagram every single day, or whatever that front face marketing is for you. I know that. I said it to you this morning. I am so strategic about every single thing that I do, say, post and share.
Yeah.
And
same.
it wouldn't look like it.
No.
It doesn't look like it. And something a client reflected to me the other day, and it was her and her partner. They're in business together. They're incredible. I love them. But they said to me, like, your approach to sales blows my mind, because it goes against everything that I have been taught, and it's so indirect. Like you're never down people's throats. You're never direct in asking for a sale or inviting someone in. And to me, selling is just an invitation.
Yes.
It's just an invitation. Like any invite. Are you coming? Are you not coming? Are you going to come another time? I don't really care. Accept, decline,
I would love,
or say
I would
not
love
interested.
If you,
I don't care. I'm going to be there. I'll be at the party. I'm hosting the party, actually. If you want to come, I'm so excited to see you there. I've invited you because I want you there, genuinely.
Yeah.
But in terms of your decision around that,
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you to make a decision. And if you have questions, I'm here. If you need support, I'm here. If you want to know if there's another party, I'm also here.
Yeah.
But that's my approach to selling. So for me, there's no dense energy around it. There's no ickiness to it.
For sure.
The approach is a little bit more in depth than that. But
yeah, of
overall,
course it is. Yeah.
On repeat, neediness is a human repellent.
It is.
Come to me. Like I'm open to receive. As women in business, the bro marketing approach, the masculine approach, goes against everything that we are and who we innately are. Like we're emotional beings and we crave connection. We love honesty and transparency and a relationship and to be on the receiving end of that. So yes, that's my sales approach. And yes, I'm going to give you the time of day. And yes, I genuinely care. What's your partner's name? What's your dog's name? Where do you live?
Yes.
What do you need support around?
Yeah.
Can I be the one to bridge that gap for you? And also, if I'm not, I'm going to tell you that.
Yes.
And I'm going to lead you somewhere else.
Yeah. I think it's so incredible because they will be able to feel that through the entire process, like the conversation you have with them, right? And even more so the detachment that gets to happen after you've shared the details. I think that is such a potent time that I know what I'm responsible for in guiding someone or inviting someone into my spaces, but the detachment that gets to take place after I've done my part, you need to know what that is for you. Like, at what point do you detach? That is not to say that you should not up your marketing and support them in different ways in terms of making the decision an obvious one to move into your world. But it's out of your control. Whether people decide to double tap or pay or not, that is not your responsibility and completely out of your control. But I think a lot of people feel this void as people are in the decision-making process, where I'm like, if you can learn to detach, the moment when you have done your part, they're going to lean in.
And if you interrupt someone who's in their masculine, which the buyer is always in their masculine in a sales process, you think any relationship needs polarity. You can't both be in your masculine for that relationship to work. You can't both be in your feminine because you'll both lean out. So for you, remaining neutral, can you detach, like you said, be neutral, be in an energy to receive, and don't interrupt. And I'm direct in that, but don't interrupt a client's process or a prospect client's process when they're making a decision. Because if they're right on the cusp and they're like, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to work today and I'm going to come home and I'm going to make that investment. I might just talk to my partner, crunch some numbers, and I'm in. And then you go, hey, babe, just checking in if you're, to me.
They know where Instagram, they can find their way to the DMs. They know where the link is. Yeah. If they were that eager to work with you, I promise that they will find a way to communicate with you because you've had a conversation.
They're self-led humans.
They're self-led humans, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is an essential part to even attract the right people versus cornering people into making a decision. That I'm saying, I'm standing here with open arms. I am ready. I'm good to go. I am moving. I'm not slowing down. I'm not stopping. If you want to take 3 years to make your decision, great. I am moving. I'm not, it does not affect me one bit. Am I so excited to work with this person? 100%. But it's completely out of my control. So I think a really powerful shift, especially if you are navigating this right now, listening to this, if you feel like you have this anxious attachment of people making a decision, what can you control in that moment? What can you do after you have given the information, the invitation? What can you control? Marketing, how you are showing up online, looking at what they're needing to support with, how can you support the buying process by leveraging aspects of what they are wanting to get support with.
Yeah, and adding value. I think it's so, there's so much that you can do. And again, we overcomplicate it and we get really sort of just fixated on the small things and the interactions. I could have said this better. We're not coming in with any of that energy. I think it's almost like that black cat, golden retriever energy. When you are the one someone's opting into, you're the black cat.
Yes.
Right? You want to attract the golden retrievers, as silly as that sounds, but you're attracting the people that are ready to pursue you, and you're the black cat, and you're in your energy, and you're in this high frequency, and you're just come to me. I've got this amazing offer, this incredible service. It's going to help you do X to X, and this is going to be the transformation. I'm inviting you, come on over. Yeah. Even when you're ready. And it's a silly way of putting it, but for me as well in sales, there's so many things I posted to my stories yesterday, and I was things that I don't do or unpopular things I do in sales. And I'm I don't do sales calls. I'll never reach out or follow up with a prospect client. There were so many things that I wrote on that list. But
I saw that.
The list sort of goes on and you can kind of get the gist of where that would go. But a massive, 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 massive thing for me is creating safety and coming back to innately who women are. I know I've said it a couple of times, but we are meant to receive.
Yeah.
We're meant to receive. We are not meant to pursue. I know for a fact, if you had reached out to me from a client perspective to check in, follow up, just seeing if you're going to, I'm out.
You're
like
out.
for me,
Yeah.
I'm out.
100%.
And that's all it would take.
And I'll be like, I would never. Like
You would never.
I wouldn't.
And you didn't. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But if you did, I know that's enough for me to be like, nah, because she needs me. And in this dynamic, I need to need her. You're not supposed to need me.
Oh,
You're not supposed to need me.
Well,
it's
that's
like,
it.
because
Yeah.
if I feel like, oh, you're chasing me, you need, let's just call it 20K, 10K, 5K, whatever the container is.
It's
I'm like,
not the vibe.
You need that? Instantly no.
Yeah.
Because in this position, I'm making the decision, I'm investing in you. And if I know that there's neediness on your end, that no longer feels safe for me.
Yeah.
Because there's a dependence there. There's like a codependency and you're reliant on my transaction.
Yes. Yeah.
And now it is transactional. And I don't like that.
No, same. Let me ask you this. I'm really curious about your perspective on this. So if you have a potential client inside of your DMs and they are looking for certainty, they are looking for validation of something working. They're like, will you get me results, Riley? Like for me, that is a huge like red flag. Like just in like
I was going to say immediately no.
right? Like very, but I can see the fear in, or like maybe also like lack of responsibility of like just how can I just make this her responsibility to give me results versus like I'm just really interested to kind of your take on that. And if you were to be on, because that is something I personally call out like immediately when I have a potential client, which they really love because like no, this is yours like to own. This is not mine. I give no guarantees like whatsoever. But I think it's very interesting if you are on the like receiving end in terms of if you are a business owner and you have someone leaning into your DMs. I'm wondering, how do we call someone out? Because what I'm seeing is when you have a potential client where a lot of people go wrong is that they will actually validate that. And they will be like, no, this is what we're going to do. They feed in to that behavior.
Proving energy also.
The proving energy is massive, right?
There's so much to that. Well, then you dip into over delivery. And this is my biggest thing as well. This is your decision to make. I'm not going to make it for you. And I will make it very, very clear from the get-go that if you're coming in, I will give you the tools, the resources, the knowledge I'm committed to as the coach, the mentor, or the facilitator of a program to give you all the knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
I will give you the deliverables. What you do with that, it's up to you.
Yeah.
How you utilize that, it's up to you. How you take action is up to you.
Yeah.
I cannot guarantee you an outcome. If we think about a vehicle or a tool in a tangible aspect. So if you go to a surf shop and you're like, I'm going to start surfing, so I'm going to buy a board. Would you sit there and say to the person that you're buying from, are you going to guarantee me that this makes me surf X way? No.
Because could you imagine how good that would be?
It would be amazing. But that's the vehicle, right? Like the board is the vehicle. When you're opting into mentorship or a space like this or a program, the program is the surfboard, for an example in this analogy. Are you going to say to the person who, created the program, you're going to guarantee me I get to X income? You're going to guarantee me I get X sales? Absolutely not. But if you utilize, leverage, ask questions, learn, implement, practice, apply, then absolutely
consistently
you will get results. So I guess in terms of how I would navigate or approach it, the first thing is you're probably not my client. Like this is the big thing because that is a bit of a red flag for me. I know in the way I lead myself, I would never go to a mentor or invest in a program going, you better get me results in this. No. I would never.
Yeah.
So for me, I go, oh, we're probably not aligned, to be completely honest. If that's how you lead yourself, that's okay. But it's not what I do and it's not what I'm about. And I would also get curious around, one, what their experience has been in mentorship before or in a program before and where maybe it's a pattern repeating itself.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Because sometimes
and being able to call that out.
Absolutely, because sometimes you don't actually notice that until people are inside of mentorships. And I find that quite fascinating, and I'm always curious around that as well, because especially, and I think there are two parts to this, because there is a lot around like unmeasurable results that are highly impactful, yet it can be quite frustrating when you are not seeing like the tangible result, as in like money in the bank, if we are speaking like business coaching. There is so much like conditioning and foundational work that actually takes time.
Yeah.
So for instance, if you are in like a 3-month like mentorship, you may see results. I had someone who came in and we 10x'd her business like literally within 3 months. Other people, it's going to take them quite some time. Yeah. So it's that whole detachment of like being willing to like, I'm ready to buckle up and I'm going to be in this for quite some time, and not thinking you're going to see potentially like a return on investment immediately.
Yeah. And I always believe the work that I focus on now, so we're in October.
Yeah.
What month are we in? October 2024. I know for a fact what I do now, I will see the result of that in probably June next year. I know
in
that.
June next year.
Next year. But what I do now massively contributes to what happens for me in 6 to 12 months' time.
Yeah.
So would I have an experience in mentorship with you and then go, nothing worked, and then the month after we finish, things start to move and I go, see, I'm doing it all on my own? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What I'm doing now is going to contribute to the result that I experience. And it's having that foresight, it's knowing that, it's being in for the long game, and also knowing I'm the one driving this.
Yes.
I am the one driving this. I could sit in mentorship and do nothing.
Yes.
I could do nothing. Or I can sit in mentorship, leverage it, utilize it, plug in, ask the right questions, apply that and act in accordance and start to see results. But it's all dependent on how I ultimately choose to lead myself.
But this is what I love so much. And maybe we just go here before we round up the conversation, because I think this is where you and I are extremely similar in the way we move, like consistently moving every single day. And even witnessing you in mentorship, you are very strategic around your questions, the progress that you are making, like what, so for instance, the structure inside of the mastermind, on Mondays, we open loops and then we close loops on Fridays. And it's really beautiful to actually see how you are just executing, like constantly, right? That is probably like one of the most important traits to have. If you want to 10x what you are currently doing, if you want to double what you are currently doing, if you want to make progress, like full stop, take action consistently.
And just get so good at it. That's my biggest thing. If you want to dissolve the time between the problem you're experiencing and the result that you desire, execute and get so good at doing it regardless. Master that.
So in order to execute then, what is needed?
Ridiculously fast action and a level of relentlessness is what I want to use. Like be so relentless in pursuit of what you want.
Yes.
Be so relentless. So if you know it's like, I want this outcome, I want this thing, or I desire whatever goal, how relentless are you willing to be? And how willing are you in pursuit of that? So for me, again, it's like, get so used to going, okay, this is uncomfortable. That is the path of growth.
Yes.
This is really comfortable. That is a path of limitation.
Yes.
If I'm comfortable, I'm going fucking nowhere. Like, if I'm comfortable, I'm going nowhere. And that's
if
just
you are
always
comfortable, you are going nowhere. Like, let's just take a moment for that, because that is huge. Like, I lead myself through, do I experience ease in my company? 100%.
Yeah.
But do I also, on the flip side of that, experience huge levels of discomfort every single day?
Every day.
Every single day.
And for me too, I've said it earlier, but like the purpose of life for me is to make progress. If I'm not progressing in some way, shape or form, could be my health, fitness, relationships, career, financially, fulfillment, whatever, then I am failing, truth be told. Like I feel like I'm failing. So the pursuit of progress is important to me. So actively pursue that by moving the needle in every area of your life. And also know that success is a feeling. I'm so big on this. Success is a feeling. You're not really ever chasing the outcome. the result, the financial milestone. Like that's not what you're chasing.
Totally.
You are chasing the feeling. For me, I think what is the feeling of success? It's contentment. If I wake up and I'm content, I'm successful.
Yes.
So I'm in relentless pursuit of feeling content. That's what I'm
Yes.
chasing. Sure, will money support me in that? Absolutely.
Of
Will
course.
having consistent leads support me in that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will clients, will marketing, will everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all going to lead to me feeling content because I'm financially supported, secure, free,
Yeah.
whatever else. But I'm relentless in pursuit of contentment because
Yeah.
that is success.
But also what I think as well, when it comes to that contentment, we have access to that to some degree right in this moment, whether that is where we want to be or not, like are there different levels of contentment or not? Absolutely. That I so believe that we have access to that right now, that I don't believe in delayed gratification. Like for me, I get to experience the joy, the fulfillment, like the genuine like love for my life, the experience that I have. And I think this really came to me when I started to romanticize like every area of my life. And I know it sounds a bit cliche. And this is not to say that every single day is perfect and like I smell the roses every day. It's not what I'm saying, but I get to have this experience of life. I get to view life of it being this incredible gift that we get to live every single day. I'm getting emotional. That we get to have this gift of experience life through whatever lens we want to experience life. And when we learn to look at life and move through life through that lens, life is incredible. And the overflow that we get to experience showing up from that energy, that for me is like all I want for myself, for my family, for my clients, for my friends. That overflow of like, I get to be here. I get to live, I get to connect, I get to have moments like this where we get to sit down and have an incredible conversation. This is what we do for work. And we get to experience life through this lens. There is so much to be grateful for. And I invite everybody listening to do a stock take for all of the things that you have in your life and stop focusing on the things that you don't have. And your life will be in total overflow. And when you navigate the world in complete overflow, you will ultimately become the most potent, magnetic, empowered human that will just beam joy, contentment, ease.
All of it.
All of it.
And gratitude and fear can't coexist. Yeah. Like it can't coexist. So be so grateful. And that's exactly it. It's like, can you be so fulfilled in the pursuit of what you're working towards and not wait until? You don't need to wait until you have the car. You don't need to wait until you have the house or hit the milestone or have the relationship, like whatever it is. You don't have to wait to experience whatever success is to you. I speak about that all the time. If it's contentment, what makes you feel content? Is it your morning coffee? Is it going for a walk? Is it sitting on the beach? Is it being with your partner? Is it hugging your kids? Is it cooking dinner at night? Is it the 10 minutes before you sleep? Is it your drive to work? There are so many moments in your life and things that you get to experience that put you in the frequency and feeling of what success is, which means you operate your days and your life in the frequency of success. You attract what you are, not what you want. You're an energetic match for everything that you want to attract. It's the hack.
Which means it's going to happen so much faster.
Because you are a match for it. You're not, I'm going to feel this way when, I'm going to be this when. Embodiment trumps strategy. Stop focusing on how you're going to become successful or how you're going to achieve X goal. Who do I have to be?
Yeah. We are a match made in heaven.
2 top tier yappers that yap for a living.
We are just yappers. I love yapping with you.
I love yapping with you too. We've been yapping all day.
Genuinely, I'm so grateful that we are here. I feel so privileged to guide you, to have this beautiful relationship with you. I feel like it's this beautiful friendship that is blossoming. I'm proud of you. I see you, like all parts of you. I think you're incredible. And I just know that you are an absolute gift to every person that will have the privilege of working with you, cross paths with you, and you should be reminded of that every single day. And I'm so grateful.
Thank you. I feel like you're going to make me emotional. I'm like, anyway, I love you. No, I'm so grateful to be here. And I knew this was coming. It was just a timing thing, and it makes sense now.
Thank you.
And I'm glad the yappers are together.
The yappers are together. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode and for my series, Voices of Impact, with the incredible Riley May. I will leave all of her details in the show notes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in week on week, and I cannot wait to be back here next week for another show.